Hey everyone, John here from Fedica. If you're trying to analyze hashtags or keywords, like if you wanted to use content to attract your ideal customers to you, people who don't know you, who aren't in your circle, and turn them into followers, then you'll love the hashtag and keyword analysis because you get a report from a conversation around any keyword, group of words, or hashtags, and see the entire story so you can make data-driven decisions on which groups of people to target using words that get the most reach. I have a few examples to show you how I read the reports to get insights I can use to group people in the conversation and take further action, like building a targeted audience for an X ads campaign, for example. If you want to see that example of how to use different tools in Fedica together to achieve this, check out my step-by-step demo in the link card that pops up on the screen or in the description below. In this video, we're just going to focus on the hashtag report. So first, let's pick a report to use. The standard report covers the last 30 days, the pro report is anytime since 2006, and the sample covers 100 posts in a maximum of 7 days. Here's a pro tip. If you're not sure about your query parameters, run a sample report to test if the right combination of parameters gives you what you're looking for, and that way you don't waste your quotas for standard or pro reports on wrong queries like typos, for example. So here's the couple examples I have is X-Men 97 and then Gen AI that happened this week. So if we take a look at the parameters, this is how you set one up. So let's create a report based on the amount of days or how many posts you think it's going to have. On X, for example, you see the amount of posts on the trending topic. So this is how you set up your analysis. We're going to start by giving it a name, and then you can add all the keywords or hashtags you want. And this, for example, is just the hashtag we did for the example I'm about to show you. If you wanted to add a character, then the containing all is going to be all of the posts that have both of these keywords included in the post will show. If you want to expand it and get even more posts by having any of them, so either people talking about the character or people talking about the hashtag, this is how you get really precise with the results you get. You can save costs here. Now you can also do an exact phrase. For example, we schedule threads for free, so we find people saying schedule a thread or schedule threads. So that exact phrase is always going to give us the right kind of post. So you can do that for your business as well and find people who are ready to purchase your product with the right keywords that they're using. You can also exclude keywords that you don't want if you see that it's pulling posts that are irrelevant, and then you can get precise with each language if you want, and then pinpoint countries like USA for things that would make sense like that. So then you pick your start date and your end date. And for us, for example, we are looking at a TV series that was trending for only a day, so we only need to have a little buffer there. Here's the example report of a TV show that just released a new episode. Everybody's talking about it and how you can use this conversation and the insights you get here to make informed and strategic decisions. So as you can see, here's where the conversation happened around the world. There's heat points where the most of people were chatting, and you can pull these people out of here and use the keywords that you get in this report to create a hyper-targeted ad campaign by resonating with the demographics of these people, using the words that they used, so you can save on your ad spend. So you start out with your posts. There's 6,000 during that 24-hour period. All the contributors, all the countries and cities involved, and all the reach and all the impressions. Here's the top 3 countries, top 3 cities, how they felt about it. I think the episode was a little shocking, so it was kind of all over the place, you see. But we can dive right into this interactive map, okay, and we can see the people who are having the conversation. Let's say Brazil. These guys love their anime, of course, and we can check out who they are. So just like this, you can pull these people into an X ads campaign by adding them to a list. We'll add it to a Fedica list because we're going to use it internally here. Just like this, we have a hyper-targeted group of people who we know had this conversation and are passionate about these things. If we create a list of these people, we can send an ad that is so targeted that will resonate so deeply with them. Let's go back here to our report. So these are the associated hashtags, other sort of keywords and hashtags. There was not a lot because obviously this is a very precise conversation. My next example, you'll see a couple more. But of course, you'll see the posts and how many mentions they had. If we keep going, we have the activity timeline. So obviously, this is probably telling you when people finished watching the episode, and that's where the conversation started. So the engagements here, a lot of likes, of course, reposts, replies, That's pretty cool. It shows you, usually if it's on a topic or a person that's pretty controversial, you'll see a lot of reposts here and you'll see a lot of quotes because people will be debating. You'll see that a lot in political analyses. So the reach distribution, this is all the people that it reached and how big their followers are. If it's, you know, a bunch of people with like little followers, that's going to tell you a little bit about the conversation. You know, art fans, maybe they're not too keen on growing their community, so they have like, you know, very niche followings. So you can build the story by looking at all of these together. The follower posts, I love this one is because if you have people who are in this conversation and they barely ever post, that can tell you a lot about the quality. So let's say if it's a bunch of bots having a conversation, you know, you're not going to see a lot of posts, and it's going to be very clear when you get these insights, depending on the type of thing you're tracking. So we have follower activity there. The languages, obviously, this is more in English because the episode is in English. But take a look. We have Brazil, which most people speak Portuguese there. You can see that resonates as well. Spanish. We had Spain was another hot part of the map up there, so it's hitting these different cultures. Anime is pulling people together, right? So these countries here, most people from US, that might make sense because Disney Plus might be bigger there, you know. And then you have gender as well. If businesses were involved, that could be pretty helpful. And this is huge too. So obviously these guys are anime fans. So we have a huge art and culture scene, science and tech. That's pretty interesting. Media. So this is going to help you cater your messaging if you decide to join the conversation, if you decide to pull these people into an ad campaign, if you decide to see if this conversation is the type of people that you want as your ideal customers. Like if you only sell art and culture type stuff, then you'll know this is a pretty good chance that this group of people might resonate with your thing too. When you put all this data, you make a story out of it, you can see that it's going to tell you some pretty interesting stuff. Well, this is interesting. So this is X-Men 97. So it's a callback to a 1997 show, and they just remade it. So you're going to have a lot of nostalgia fans. So it makes sense that adults are the majority here. These are the brands that the people in this conversation are also following. So if you're going to make an ad campaign, or if you're going to try to resonate deeply with them, or if you're trying to make a product happen, or you're trying to grow your community, these are TV fans. These are people who like media. You got NBA, you got WWE, you got Universal, and Netflix, of course, DC. So you can tell that these guys are anime fans, they love TV. That can tell you a lot about the type of things these people are really passionate about. So of course you have the influencers with the most followers, Marvel Studios, you got the big companies here chatting, starting the conversation. That's pretty interesting. Then you have the posts with the most reposts. So that could be controversial things, like this person noticed something. He found an Easter egg. So that's pretty interesting, and everybody was talking about that. So you can get really deep in the convo. What next here? We have top contributors. You know, these could be people who were posting the entire time or have a lot to say. And then the list of posts that goes down for the whole thing here. You can export this and do what you need. You can go deeper in it if you want. You can add it to an Excel, get some data on it. If you want to do your own sort of sentiment analysis, like you have the control because you have the data. That was like the in-depth view of all of this. I hope you can see how I sort of told a story here. When I looked at the brands, I looked at the demographics that these people have, and you can tell, their interests. You can tell where their countries are from, the languages. If you're going to do an ad campaign, you might make different segments by languages, and you can target these people so you don't waste your ad spend. You can do so much with this data. So let's take another look. I think this is really intriguing just to see like how a conversation resonates. So this is the Gen AI hashtag. This was just on a 1 week span of people chatting about it. But here's where we can see you have the type of different associated hashtags. So you can use these keywords. You can use these hashtags to join the conversation. People are talking about LLMs, with their generative AI type technology. This was interesting too. A lot of people mentioned Adobe Summit. So during this week, Gen AI, I realized Adobe had this summit that had to do with Gen AI. So you can see the broader context around the conversation. So the activity timeline, I wanted to jump back to this. Gen AI is huge right now. Big influencers, they're going to keep talking about it as the things change. There's updates. So it's interesting that now in the middle of the week or on Tuesdays, you should probably be posting or joining the conversation rather than on weekends. This is interesting. People who are active in the last 30 days, that's a lot of them. If you're going to join this conversation, it's going to be with people who are using the platform often enough. So that's a good sign. If you want to, join the conversation to get reach and exposure, that's a great metric to look at there. When you start telling the story like this to yourself, you can find ways for you to get in and join that conversation. So here, for example, a lot of management, people in companies, science and technology, that makes a lot of sense. And media for people who are in generative AI, because there's AI video, AI images. So this makes a lot of sense. Okay, so after my big long spiel of looking at these two cases, you can tell that I've sort of built a whole story. So that's the power of a hashtag and keyword analysis. I got a lot of information by looking at these two conversations just around a hashtag or a couple of keywords. So remember how I pulled the anime enjoyers from Brazil out of X-Men conversation? If you want to see how I made a targeted ads campaign with super specific subgroups of people using the same data in this video, click the link card above or the link in the description below.